it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So this is my extended video, and I decided to do this video on the two remaining total eclipses that are occurring in Sagittarius, the sign of Sagittarius. Because they're total eclipses, and they both, the full moon feeds into the new moon at the end of the year, I thought I would do the video on both these together so you can kind of get a picture of what to expect basically for the remainder of the year. And I'm doing this video just towards the end, the last week in May 2021. So I'm going to cover that eclipse that's coming up on the 26th of May. And then of course there's that final new moon total eclipse in Sagittarius on the 3rd of December 2021. And I do view both these eclipses not only significant for Sagittarians, because they sure are, as well as Geminis, but also for us as a collective, right? I think that is going to mean something, big changes as well. And I'll go through what those are as I talk through this video. I'm going to also, in the latter half, talk about each of the sun signs and or ascendants. Now, the only easy way for me to do this, so it's, accessible to everybody, is to do it by whole house signs. And so what that really says is that when I interpret these eclipses, I'm looking at the houses as if they are all in equal amounts of 30 degrees. And by doing that, I'm putting any eclipse that's going to happen in Sagittarius in one house. So if you are using another, I use Placidus a lot when I do my personal consultations, you may find that there's more than one house that's involved in these eclipses, because the first one's at 5 degrees and the second one is at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. So you can get your personal chart out and take a look yourself. I go through each of the houses so you can at least get an idea of what may be affected in your life, basically for the latter half, the last half of 2021, as I see it astrologically. Of course, we always have free will. A lot of times these eclipses will bring up issues and things, positively or negatively, and it really is up to us individually to make the choice of what we want to do at that time. Okay, so when we look at these total eclipses that are happening in Sagittarius, the first one is a full moon total eclipse, and that's on the 26th of May 2021. I cover each of these eclipses in my monthly videos, so you can always look at the monthly video too. So in this case, we're going to be looking at May, my video for May. It'll give you more insight as well. But this full moon total eclipse in Sagittarius is at 5 degrees Sagittarius, 25 minutes. As I said, it's on the 26th of May 2021. At 4:14 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, so just according to where you actually live. Now, what's significant about this is that we have the sun, which is in Gemini, and it'll be conjuncting the north nodes of the moon, our destiny path, also in Gemini. So right off the bat, we know that this total full moon eclipse is with regard to our destiny, and if there are specific degrees that are in your chart, they're the destiny for you. And this, of course, would be Gemini or Sagittarius, where the sun or moon is in your chart. Because this is a full moon, we've got the moon that's in Sagittarius, but then the sun in the opposite sign of Gemini. So both these signs at this full moon total eclipse are very much affected, especially if you have either an ascendant, a sun, moon, or conglomeration of planets right around this 5-6 degree mark of Sagittarius, or the opposite sign, Gemini, specific for this full moon. Now, we also have, of course, if the sun is conjunct the north nodes of the moon, we know that the moon, and the moon is the most important because that's what's making this an eclipse, the moon is conjunct the south nodes of the moon. And generally speaking, the south nodes of the moon are kind of where we individually default to, and collectively where we default to. But it's also where we're supposed to be letting go of something. So this is a letting go eclipse. And it doesn't mean we're going to let go of something that we really, really want, although that could be the case too. It just means it's letting go of one way of being, of living, of emoting, and then pointing to a new way. Now, the significance of these eclipses between the months means that we're going to be letting go of something in May, end of May, June, and then we're going to be processing all during the summer and the autumn, whatever it was that we let go of, and starting to consider new things in our life so that we can have a new start early December with the total eclipse at the new moon. So that's the kind of function and activities that will be happening. And this will also involve, because there are eclipses, people coming into our lives, going out of our lives, events in our life, maybe even us having some surprising decisions that we make ourselves. So these are all things that may happen in between these two eclipses. So expect that, individually and collectively. Now we also have the moon in Sagittarius squaring a Jupiter, which is at 1 degree of Pisces. And I see this as a fairly positive thing. Why? Because most squares to or from the ruler of Sagittarius, which is Jupiter, are relatively favorable. So this says to me that this full moon eclipse on the 26th of may seem like it's painful, or that you don't want to let go of something, or even you're fearful of letting go of something. But the reality is that in terms of your future, this is very important. So don't wrestle with letting things go. Look instead to say, wow, this is something where I can make a new start soon, and I can let go of these things. I'm just saying that it may be something where you've got to think outside the normal box that you think in order to actually benefit from this eclipse, and look at it instead as, I finally get the chance in a positive way and in an easier way to let go of something that maybe is just not good for me. And it might be something as simple as our philosophies, because that is ruled by Jupiter. It can be religion at its basic self, but it can also be, where do I think my future is? And it may be that your future has to be adjusted. You know, it's like using those binoculars. You've got to sometimes adjust it to see things clearly ahead of you that you couldn't see before. So that's kind of the general idea of this full moon eclipse. But having said that, a full moon, even though it's a full moon, we always say that it's culmination of something and an ending of something, eclipses are wild cards. They can certainly shut stuff out, but they can also bring things in. Now, because this is tied in with the north nodes, I would say that it really, and the south nodes, it is letting go of something. Be gracious and let go is what I have to say for you. And you can always put comments in and let me know how things are panning out for you individually, because I think a lot of times these comments help other people too. And it doesn't matter if you're listening to this months later. In fact, that may even be useful. Summertime, autumn time, let us know how you're doing. I encourage that and enjoy it. So when we look at this whole axis of the Gemini Sagittarius, where this full moon is occurring, when we boil it down to some words that we can use, Gemini is reason, right? Gemini likes to collect facts. It likes to talk about facts. It likes to think about things. It likes to socialize, that type of thing. So that's kind of the Gemini side of this, where the sun is. The moon, the word for that one is, in Sagittarius, is revelation. So this is a revelation of the facts that have been accumulating in our life in order for us to move along into our destiny path that really is much more enjoyable for us and really represents where we should be. It also represents the truth of where we're to aim for and what we're to look at. So essentially, if I want to roll this all up together, this full moon total eclipse in Sagittarius is asking us to look at the facts as they exist, see the truth in those facts, and then make a decision to let go of some things with a confident, optimistic, even inspiring thought and feeling around things can be better in the future for me. All right, I'll end there with this full moon total eclipse in Sagittarius. And now I'm going to move on to the final total eclipse in Sagittarius, which is a new moon in Sagittarius. A new moon's, as a reminder, put the sun and the moon together. So both these energies of the luminaries are working closely together in Sagittarius to help you put in place something new. So this could be a turning point month for you, especially Sagittarians, and secondly, and Sagittarians ascendant, and then secondly, of course, Geminis and Gemini ascendants. So this new moon on the 3rd of December 2021 is at 12 degrees Sagittarius, 22 minutes, at 11:44 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is a Friday. So I would say, knowing this in advance, it's a new moon, a new start. Why not celebrate something? Maybe have a real fun event planned for yourself this weekend, or even on the Friday that it actually occurs. So this emphasizes the Sagittarius part of the sky. And so we spoke earlier about the total eclipse on the 26th of May, and what word might, reveal itself to us to help us understand. And because both the luminaries are both in Sagittarius, it's Sagittarius. So this is revelation of the truth, and in all its glory. So I would say that whatever has accumulated over the summer and the autumn, ending here in December, know that whatever new start or starts have started to reveal themselves. This is where you're supposed to be going. And everything's not going to be clear to begin with. Certainly if this affects your chart directly, say 12 degrees Sag or 12 degrees Gemini, you've still got an orb period of about 6 months where this can operate. So some of the dots may be in place, but the connections to the dots may not be. So if you've had new people, new places, even maybe new jobs come in place or into focus, know that all those will be connecting up over the next 6 months from December 2021. When we look at the birthdays for this total new moon eclipse, when we look at the exact birthdays for December in Sagittarians, we're looking at the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of December. But in terms of a wide orb for birthdays, we're looking really at the 1st to the 10th of December. And I'm on the 10th of December, so I'm going to include myself in there. When we look at ascendants, Sagittarian ascendants, we're looking generally from the 8-degree point to the 18-degree point of Sagittarius. And then for Geminis, 11th, 12th, and 13th degree of Gemini, which really boils down to the 2nd to the 6th of June. Or, of course, we're looking at ascendants in Gemini, 11, 12, and 13 degrees of Gemini. So really this now brings us to being optimistic, to take risks for our future. It may also be announcements. It could be a time too, because Sagittarius does rule teachers or preachers, that a teacher or preacher comes into prominence at this time, maybe even a guru of some sort. And I'm not thinking specifically of a guru that's associated, say, with spiritual stuff, but it could be. And it could also be a culmination too, where we as individuals, especially maybe some Sagittarians, decide to get on that path of the teacher or a guru at this time individually. It's certainly a new start for Sagittarians. So for those Sagittarians that have been feeling a little bit down, and you're watching this, say, May, June, July time, know that there are very bright and very optimistic and inspiring times ahead for you. And to know that those will evolve for you. And certainly December, mark December as an important month, December 2021, probably for your life, certainly for the next 20 years or so before these eclipses return again in similar degree points. And don't forget, we also have Jupiter going back into Pisces. Now it'll only go into Pisces from literally the 31st of December 2021 till June 2022, so you've got a 6-month period. I expect for a lot of people who are directly affected by this final new moon, total eclipse in Sagittarius, that even though it's forming a square to the Pisces Jupiter next year, it's not going to matter. It just means that you're going to have to adjust in the first half of 2022 and think outside the box, but that you could have dreams come true and enormous inspiration and optimism next year once that Jupiter in Pisces is linked up with your sign. And I'll obviously continue to talk about that Jupiter in Pisces over the next few months. Certainly I'll be spending a lot more time of it every month that it exists throughout 2022. But I have done a video specifically on this. I'm going to put the link below of Jupiter in Pisces to look at your pleasure. So I'm going to go on next now into the sun signs or the ascendant signs. Pick what you want. I would say you should read for your ascendant first. The reason for that is because your ascendant, which is what tells you what sign is rising in the east when you were born, divides up the houses in your chart, your personal chart. And the houses represent the areas of your life. So this gives you the area of your life when you read for ascendant. But equally important, of course, is your sun sign. So you want to read for your sun sign to kind of get a little more detail to what else might be happening in your life. Okay, leave me comments. We can always discuss this back and forth. So we'll start off with Sagittarius, because Sagittarius, you're probably the most prominent feature because the moons in both cases are in Sagittarius. So this is your first house. So Sagittarius, this is you making a whole new start in your life, and certainly starting a whole new 20-year cycle in your life. You can expect every aspect of your life to change. So this could be you moving. This could be you literally changing your appearance up in every possible way and how you present yourself to the world. It could be partners change for you, either leaving a partnership, or it could be you getting married or forming some serious relationship, and it could be business partnerships too, right? Not just marriage. Now the full moon, which was the first one that we spoke about in the end of May, could have had you making some changes with regards to your partnerships. This could be business partnerships and or marriage partnerships of significance. It can also be your clients. So it could be that if in your job you have clients, that you saw some of the client base have big changes where maybe some of your clients left and new ones come in. But a change up, maybe you decided to do this or that the clients did this for you. And that was at the May one. But then, of course, there's this new ushering in of new starts for you in December. So when we look at Capricorn, these two eclipses are mainly in your 12th house. And the 12th house is hidden things. It's a place where secrets can come out. It's sometimes viewed as the house of our self-undoing. It's certainly meant to be a very spiritual time where you delve into your inner world. It can be something, though, as simple as you need rest, and that's what you get or are able to take at this time instead of working so hard. It could be something as simple as that. But you could decide to take up some metaphysical types of studies, anything from feng shui to shamanism to even yoga, where you're working on your body inside and out and getting in a meditative state. It certainly is a time when I would say that you should get out into nature as much as you can. and commune with anything that allows you to, expand your inner world without interference from, say, other people. So this could involve you literally just going for a walk in the forest, a walk by the sea, taking your dog for a walk. That's very meditative too. Or you could literally take up some kind of meditation. But this is not a time of action. This is a time of more self-reflection, where maybe some things will come to light that have been hidden for some time that are really necessary for you to be able to understand many things going on that maybe didn't make sense before. Now, if we look at this full moon eclipse at the end of May, we also have the sun in the 6th house. And the 6th house is our day-to-day habits, which usually is our day-to-day job. Yet it's also the house of health too. So it could be that at the end of May, some kind of health crisis comes up, and maybe it's not something that's disastrous, but there's some little warning signal. And I would say if something like a warning signal does come up regarding your health, to please take care of it and get it checked out as soon as you can. But it could also be that maybe you ended some day-to-day job, or the way you did your day-to-day job changes. That could happen too at the end of May, or then in December, a whole new way of doing things day to day, including your job, may open up for you. But the 12th house, like I said, is really rest and spirituality. So it could be that maybe you decide to bring in a huge helping of spirituality into your life, and you take up a really serious yoga practice or meditative practice in December. Good luck, Capricorn. Next we have Aquarius. And Aquarius, it is your 11th house of friends, groups, and hopes and wishes. And then we look at the full moon eclipse at the end of May. That's where the 5th house is involved. So it could be, the 5th house really does describe a lot of things in your life. It can be children. Children somehow come into focus at the end of May. Maybe literally a new child is in your life. It could be a new love. This is the house of new love. It's also creative projects. But it is at its core being your authentic self. So maybe something came up in your life that reflected something back to you, saying you're not being your authentic self, and you start looking at, over these next 6 months, your friends and the groups that you belong to, even your hopes and wishes. And you decide to change some of these things up. And you may change them up a lot, especially when it, say, comes to friends or groups that maybe just don't represent your authentic self. Maybe you're being someone that you're really not. That you're falling in with a group that doesn't really resonate with you inside. And some changes are made there. It can also be maybe a new love comes into your life that was a friend that you maybe met as a friend or in a group, that it comes to light now at the end of May that they mean more to you than just a friend, and an actual romance ensues. And so this would be a new beginning for you with regards to that friend. Good luck to you, Aquarius. For Pisces, it is your 10th house that is mainly focused, and this is your career house. So I would say this is a big time for you to review your career and your career goals. You may decide to change your career completely. Your career may somehow come to light and fade away into the background, and something new is presented to you over the next 6 months, where you realize that you maybe want to work more from home. The 4th house is going to be highlighted at the end of May, and of course this is your home. So it could be that something happened in the home at the end of May that you had to make some decisions with regards to your career. So this would go all sorts of ways. Maybe you decided to sell your home because your career is taking you to now a completely different geography, different city, different country even, especially with Sagittarius. This could be overseas. Maybe you take up a job overseas and you have to sell your home. But it could equally be that you started working from home, that's the 4th house, and at the end of May you said, I really want to stay working from home. And then you work over the next 6 months where your career You don't go into a traditional setting, that you actually operate from your home more. Or, I guess you could be forced to go back into a traditional setting after this whole pandemic has died down, and you're not working so much at home anymore. So it could be something as simple as that. That's a big change in your career as well as your home, but the focus is going to be on what happens in your home, what ends there for you. For Aries, it is your 9th house, and the 9th house is actually ruled by Sagittarius. And so this is foreign people, foreign things, it's publishing, it's going back to school, to say you're going back for a master's or a Ph.D. It's also at its core the highest levels of consciousness, where you say, what am I going to be, what is my legacy here? So it's also that. So it could have you thinking about things like that. Now the 3rd house is accentuated along with the 9th house at the end of May. And so this really is talking about communication. So it could be that you enter into a lot of communications with people, and you decide to maybe change even where you live, because it's your neighborhood as well. Your siblings could come more into focus as well for some reason, with the 3rd house accented at the end of May. But certainly by going through these next few months in summer and autumn, leading up to December, your 9th house will be more in focus for a new start. And as I mentioned, this is foreign people, foreign things. I see this more as you either having to work with foreign people or interact with foreign people, or you decide to move overseas. And that becomes your new beginning for you. But you could equally, depending what is up for you in your life, go back to school. And this is you, maybe the 3rd house, all the communications that you have to go through to apply into a university setting. And then once the new start happens in December, you're off into this new university setting and blossoming, maybe even in a foreign land. So here we've got next is Taurus. And Taurus, it's your 8th house that's mainly in focus with these eclipses, with the 2nd house coming in at the end of May, where the sun is. So this has a focus on your finances, and it may have you losing one stream of income, that's your 2nd house, at the end of May, or you just deciding you don't want to have that job anymore. And instead you decide to maybe take an early retirement, or access your investment funds, or your 401k, or your joint savings, or even apply for a loan at this time too. So that's what's up for you. Now, you know, Taurus, that you've also got Uranus. So depending what Uranus is interacting with in your chart will also play into these eclipses. So feel free to leave me some comments about that, those Taurians, and maybe we can figure something out for you. But it could just be a major change with regards to your income stream as well as your investments. So at the very least, you're going to be having a very hard look at your investments, and perhaps investing more, or even taking some risks. Sagittarius is also about taking risks too, and taking risks with regards to your money and investing maybe in some portfolio. Good luck, Taurus. So on this, for the 7th house, we have Gemini. And Gemini, this is partnerships of all sorts. And then, of course, your 1st house is accentuated by the full moon. So something's going to be coming to light towards the end of May regarding you, where maybe you're going to be making some big change. Internally, externally, it could be all those things. Every aspect of your life you could be reviewing. And some aspects maybe leaving your life. And then as you go through the summer months and autumn months, you reflect on, you know, what kind of partner you may want. You may start meeting partners that are of interest to you. You could meet the partner as well, and this could culminate, say, at the beginning of December 2021 for you. But it can also be business partnerships as well. So it may be that you're going back and forth with communications and discovering what partners you could potentially work with over the summer and autumn, and then deciding in the beginning of December to actually work with a number of people that really suit you. It could also be you deciding to get married for some Geminis. It could be an engagement, or it could be that you just meet the love of your life and that it culminates in a new beginning for you in December 2021. Good luck, Gemini. For Cancer, we've got the axis of your 6th house and your 12th house, with an emphasis on the 6th house. So this is your health. So any kind of health things that come up, you're going to get a solution to early December. So know that for those Cancers that do have health problems, at the end of May identified, jumping through the hoops, discovering new ways to heal yourself, working with physicians and alternative medicine, may all be up for you in the summer months and autumn months, culminating in you making maybe some new discovery aiding you with regards to your health. But this is also the house of two things. In ancient times it was really viewed as a house of, I guess, indentured servants. So this would be a time period with this eclipse where maybe you were carrying some kind of burden for many, many years that was never really yours, but you were saddled with it. This whole eclipse period from the end of May to the beginning of December could herald a time when you let go, or are able to easily let go of that burden, and you could start anew at the beginning of December. But it could be you just changing your job, leaving a job maybe, deciding to that maybe this job is just not suiting you internally, and that it's not feeding you internally, and that you decide to make the changes yourself. And it culminates in a new job, December 2021. Good luck, Cancer. So Leo, we've got your 5th house accented mainly, but your 11th as well for the end of May. So this could have you have a focus on a number of things. The focus could be on maybe a child, perhaps somebody gets pregnant at the end of May, culminating with an obvious new beginning in December time, 2021. It can also be, with the 11th house here, that groups and friends play into some kind of romance for you, or even some kind of artistic endeavor. I'm thinking that maybe overall this could be a time period for Leos not only to fall in love with somebody, have a new love in their life, but also to more easily express who they are. At its core, that whole 5th house is asking you to be your authentic self. Now usually it's tied in with artistic things as well, so it could be a great time for producing pieces of art or any kind of artistic endeavor, but there's a big emphasis on that. And that maybe this ties in with some of your hopes and wishes, and that hope and wish comes true, or gradually comes true, over the summer and autumn, culminating in this December time period where you actually have something concrete to produce. Good luck, Leo. So for Virgo, the axis for you is mainly your 4th house of home, but also your 10th house career. So this to me says there's a little bit of a conflict or challenge with regards to the career. Maybe you're having to spend too much time at work and not enough time at home, and it's causing some havoc at home. Or the opposite, where you're having to do a lot of stuff at home that's interfering with your career. But both of these things are going to be highlighted with emphasis on your home. So it could be to here that you decide that you can more easily work from home, and that that's what you do. You make a whole new start at the beginning of December to work from home. Or even become a consultant. Don't work for a firm, that you become a consultant, and that ensues you working at home. It could be also that you let a job go, or a job goes from you at the end of May, and you're finding yourself working at home more, maybe on contracts, that type of thing. That can happen as well. Just on a very surface level, this could have you having a big focus on your home, where maybe you, at the end of May, let go of a home, sell a home, and then at the beginning of December, you move into a new home. So all those things could be up for you too. The mother is always associated with the 4th house as well, and because there's a big focus on the 4th house, perhaps your mother, or your habits even, are going to come into focus, where you take and turn a new page with both those things. For Libra, it's your 3rd house and your 9th house. The 3rd house is your neighborhood. So it could be that there's a lot more activity in your neighborhood. Maybe there's going to be new things added to your neighborhood over the summer and autumn that culminate in some kind of new beginning in your neighborhood. It's your siblings. Maybe there's a new start due at the beginning of December for you in this area, where the 9th house is accentuated at the end of May, and the 9th house could be, foreign people, foreign things. So perhaps you've been living overseas or in a foreign land, and that comes to an end now. That's the 9th house. And you move back into your old neighborhood, maybe even where your siblings are, and start a whole new chapter with them. That kind of came in as a big intuition for me for you, Libra. But it also involves writing and publishing. So it could be that there's a big emphasis around some kind of writing project, whether it's a small one or a large one, that you publish something at the end of May, and then this emphasis on the 3rd house at the beginning of December has you putting a lot of effort into the sales and commerce of that publication that you had. Good luck, Libra. So we end up here with Scorpio. And Scorpio, don't forget, you've got the south nodes of the moon going into your sign at the beginning of January 2022. And the north nodes will be in your opposite sign of Taurus. So big destiny changes up for you next year. So they will be playing into the fallout of these eclipses. And these eclipses fall in your 2nd and 8th house. And again, these are money houses. But the emphasis for you is going to be on making money. So it could be that you'll take another job. That's possible here. It could also mean that you decide to let a job go and start a new job. But with the 8th house being emphasized also at the end of May, it could be that a number of things. A loan comes due, and you have to figure out a way to get that paid, and that means you've got to take another job or somehow find another source of income. 8th house is also a time or a thing that you may do is decide to put more money into your investments and long-term savings, and that may require you to take another job or to change your job so that you earn more money so that you can save more money. That may come into view too. But the 8th house is also about our psychological selves. So at the end of May, there may be something that happens to you that really affects you internally and psychologically. Maybe you're going through some psychotherapy and you're getting a lot of epiphanies and waking up to things. Maybe the value of yourself, because the 2nd house is also value of self. And that you start sitting up straighter and showing people that you want to be valued differently, and putting up boundaries maybe even, and insisting that you're being treated in a certain way. And this may also involve you asking for a raise. That could happen too. But this other source of income could also be like passive income too. That could be the 8th house as well, where passive income comes in to supplement your ongoing day-to-day income that you have. So good luck with that, Scorpio. All right, that wraps up the 2 eclipses. Those are, again, total eclipses in Sagittarius. The one on the 26th of May is going to be a total eclipse that is in Sagittarius, and it's a full moon. Generally speaking, it's endings, but as I said before, eclipses are wild cards. So it could be endings, it could be beginnings, it could be both. But let's just say there's going to be a big focus and a big light put on something at the end of May for you to pay attention to, with the summer and autumn months with you processing through that, culminating at the beginning of December for a new start wherever that Sagittarian new moon falls in your chart. I'm sending lots of love to everybody. Best of luck. You're going to see me again, of course, for the July video, which I always look forward to. As I said, I love to do people's charts, so please reach out to me. All my contact info is below. I love to hear from you as well. Any comments that you have are always welcome. Bye for now, and take care.